Together with Chad and Ethiopia, Zambia is one of the 3 countries that have requested a restructuring of its external debt, which totals $3 billion under a common framework agreed last year by China and other group of 20 members in the Paris Club of major creditor countries. Getting approval from the IMF for a program is a key step for countries in the debt restructuring process, but progress on the framework has been slow. Zambia's external debt includes around $3 billion in international market bonds, $2.1 billion to multilateral lending agencies such as the IMF, and another $3 billion to China and Chinese entities. Zambia's finance ministry said it would provide more details on the IMF agreement in a joint briefing with the fund on Monday.
So, for more on this, we're joined by Zambian journalist Arthur Sikopo. So, Arthur, a very good evening to you. The agreement must come as a huge relief for the government of President Hichilema because it's been under immense pressure of turning the economy of the country around since taking over, hasn't it? Arthur, if you can
yes,
just unmute yourself.
And thank you for having me. Yes,
Yes, you can go ahead, Arthur. We can hear you now.
Hello, good evening, and thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me, and good evening, and of course, a very good evening to the viewers. Yes, this has come with quite some relief to the Zambian government. We saw Finance Minister Dr. Msokotwane, announcing this afternoon, just after 1 or 2 conclusions were met for the day, or were made for the day, that the IMF has agreed, of course, they've sort of reached a certain stage where a full bailout might be given out to Zambia. Of course, this is under the extended credit facility where the IMF has offered $1.4 billion for the next 3 years, which Zambia will have to use. You may be aware, and of course the viewers may be aware, this has taken quite a long time. Negotiations have been there on the table for quite some time now, for some years, I may say so. Under the administration of Edgar Lungu, the past president of Zambia, and the Patriotic Front, we had these talks going on between the Zambian government and, of course, the IMF, just wanting to reach out to reach to that final bailout for the country. But things seemed not to be going on so well. And things sort of got to a deadlock. Just after Hakainde Hichilema won with the UPND in August, when he traveled to the United States of America, to the UN General Assembly, he took some time to pass through the IMF offices, and they had this discussion, and that is where most of these developments came from. So this has been quite a milestone for the country, and of course for the administration of Hakainde Hichilema.
It comes at a very apt time for President Hichilema as he marks his first 100 days in office. So he gave a speech on the rule of law and freedom of speech having been restored. But how has he been regarded on how he's dealt with things on the economic front? He came in on the ticket of being a successful businessman who would have been economically savvy, so to speak.
Yes, as rightly put, this is 100 days of Hakainde Hichilema, and of course, it has been running throughout the country and throughout the news throughout the country. People are trying to dissect the first 100 days of Hakainde Hichilema, and of course, they are giving various reasons. But from the economic front, some of them are saying that he is scoring, but some of them are saying that because of the numerous promises which he has made, and some of them have not been fulfilled. Of course, some of them may not be fulfilled in a short period of time, but others were expecting that they'll be fulfilled in a short period of time, because he is on record saying that once he's sworn in and all, things will just start unfolding, and of course the economy would pick up. So from the economic front, Hakainde Hichilema is receiving some kudos, and of course others are saying that he is not yet into the full gear of operating and just working for the Zambian people to see to it that the economy is resuscitated. I was talking to one economist this morning, Trevor Hambai, who was saying that this discussion which the Zambian government has been having with the IMF is one of those positive strides which Hakainde Hichilema has made in the first 100 days of being in office. Of course, on other fronts, Hakainde Hichilema as well has been praised in terms of the rule of law, in terms of in the country. Under the Patriotic Front, people used to complain. We saw people complaining of being harassed, people being brutalized. Of course, Hakainde Hichilema himself has said that he's on record of being detained or arrested 15 times. So, but under this administration of Hakainde Hichilema himself, we seem to not to be having such incidences so far. We've had one or two, but those are just minor incidences. So the first 100 days of Hakainde Hichilema from the economic front is receiving kudos, and of course others are still bashing it. Of course, others are saying that let's wait and see, because this fiscal period which Hakainde Hichilema is operating from is that left by the Patriotic Front. Of course, Hakainde Hichilema unveiled his 2022 budget through Finance Minister, and we hope to see some of these projects or some of these economic projects being undertaken come 2022.
Arthur, I mean, the wait-and-see approach, I'm sure, will come very much from the young people who helped bring him into power. But the interesting thing about this extension of credit facility, it calls for bold and ambitious, economic reform. So what would President Hichilema be doing in order to create jobs for his support base under these demands?
Yes, this credit facility comes, of course, with, as rightly put, all those measures to ensure that the resources are being used in the right way. There is no misappropriation of funds. There is no corruption taking place. And strict measures are being put to ensure that wherever resources are being put in, it is being accounted for. So in terms of employment of the youths, we've seen Hakainde Hichilema in his 2022 national budget promising to employ about 45,000 Zambians. Which, of course, includes a lot of youths. Of course, youths played a very critical role in terms of election of Hakainde Hichilema into office. And, of course, they form a larger majority of those that are not employed. And Hakainde Hichilema has promised to employ those in 2022. That is, among them will be about 30,000 teachers, then the others are in the health sector, and all. So, but whether Hakainde Hichilema said whether we receive support for now or later, we are going to go ahead and employ this. And he says that there are certain strategic ways in which he's going to, or his government is going to facilitate for those that are going to be employed to be paid. Those that have been waiting for their terminal benefits for years are to be paid by the year 2022. So currently, people in the country are very expectant in terms of some of these promises which were made by Hakainde Hichilema in terms of employing youths, employing them masses. People are expecting in terms of the economic recovery of the country. People are very expectant in terms of paying those that were retrenched and or the retirees. People are expectant because some of those things have been mentioned in the 2022 national budget of Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND.
So you mentioned corruption earlier on, Arthur, and is it too early to tell if President Hichilema has been able to, untie some of those systemic corruption ties? Because I'd imagine that people are looking to see if there is going to be a complete overhaul, especially if you're talking about inclusive growth. A lot of that money is lost to corruption, but is he able to dismantle those building blocks that remain of corruption?
The coming of Hakainde Hichilema, he has been on record and he continues to be on record. Even just this afternoon, he had a ceremony at State House where he was swearing in some new office bearers in government. He repeated his message. He keeps on repeating this message of him being against corruption, him and his government being against corruption, and wanting to be accountable for everything or for every coin that is spent anywhere to be accounted for by all those officers that are in charge. But in terms of looking at some of these things, people are saying that it may take some time for him to deal with the issue of corruption, to completely kill corruption in the country. They're saying that it may take a lot of time because alleging that it has been deep-rooted. Even him himself, President Hakainde Hichilema, has said that the corruption in the country has been deep-rooted, so it will take a little bit of some time to sanitize the whole system. But in as far as what he's doing, I think some positives are being seen. We saw some people that could not account for certain amounts of money that were found in their homes, that were found in their homes. And the government had to reach an extent of just grabbing that money without charging that particular person through certain provisions of the law that, of course, agree to that. So the steps are being seen, but it may take quite some time for everything to just come to fruition, and for all those deals that were made to be exposed and all. But others, of course, the opposition especially, they're saying that Hakainde Hichilema is just behaving as those that left government. He's saying that Hakainde Hichilema is also supporting some corrupt activities. Some of them are pointing at some of his ministers, claiming that some of his ministers, just 3 months in government, they have become rich, and the richness is not known where it's coming from. So there are all those issues coming up from the opposition and, of course, from other stakeholders. But the key for Hakainde Hichilema, one thing that is being told is that he should just forge ahead and listen to what people are saying, but, of course, implement what he feels will reduce and, of course, stop corruption in the country.